Hello, hello, and
Hello.
welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And today we've got a very special guest. I'm super excited. I'm trying to get myself centered in this line here. Do I go this way, that way? All right. Super excited to have Dr. Marissa Pei. She has
Pei.
8 ways to pay. Sorry.
It's okay.
So let's start that over again. Let's restart. 8 ways to happiness. And we're so excited because her book is launching today, right? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing the introduction. You know, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can also see the description. But she is a PhD in organizational psychology, and she's been working for Fortune 500 companies. She's got an amazing podcast herself that is got like top podcast of the year, among like 440,000 podcasts. So I could go on and say wonderful things about, what do they call you? The Asian Oprah, right? So we have Dr. Marissa here with us.
Do.
Awesome. We're a little bit behind, so I'll leave a long pause for you to tell us about how excited you are about your book launching today, and why did you write this book?
Well, thank you, Penny Zenker, so much for having me here to give a little preview and celebrate my launch day and birthday, and just celebrating life. And actually, just a preview, you are going to be on my show in 2 hours. So it's going to be a day all about happiness and time and living our best life. So 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are is birthing today. It did take me 9 months to write it. And yes, they do call me the Asian Oprah because Michael Bernard Beckwith, one of the teachers on The Secret, founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, he introduced me to Oprah when she came to Agape as this is the Asian Oprah. He dubbed me that name. And she looked at me, smiled, looked down, and said, "Nice pants." And it took every part of me not to say, "Do you want them?" Like, I'll take them off. But yeah, it wasn't, I realized I didn't have any panties on, so it would have been ugly. Anyways, I shouldn't have said that. That's TMI. But anyways, this book is really, it is self-help on steroids. So it comes from not a place of, I know more than you. It comes from a place of, I know if you've had past pain, if you have future fear, if you have ever felt like you're not good enough, you're not worthy, the voices in your head, you'll never amount to much. You've been hurt as a child, if you've had hurt as an adult, and I know it. I get it. I spent decades shoving all that stuff down and not dealing with it and thinking,
Right.
can't change the past, so why bother? And realizing around midlife opportunity time that what you don't deal with will come back and deal with you. And I realized too that I am one of the majority. 7 out of 10 of us, as many as 8, as my honorable moniker will say, have past pain, grow up in dysfunctional homes. So why are we saying that there's something wrong with us, that we're like behind the 8 ball, that we will never catch up? That's BS. That's a belief system that keeps us unhappy and completely stuck in our pain, marinating in it. And I had enough. And so I got to that moment of, is this all there is? This is what life is? Going to spend my entire life trying to catch up to something that I don't even think is possible, which is happiness. And realized that I could either blame and shame and feel bad about what happened, or reframe and look at pain in life as something that helps me chisel into even greater and more beautiful good, and that all pain in life serves as a touchstone for us, number one, to grow and expand, and number two, to help others who are going through similar things. And
Totally. I want to stop you there for a minute because I want to talk about your book, right?
sorry, there we go.
That's all right. I want to stop you because I want to talk about your book, because one of the things that I love about the book, because, you know, I've read it, and is, you know, you said, you know, to stop pushing it down. Like, you know, a lot of people, they read this positive psychology and they think it's all about positive, 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 like, you know, ignore what's happened. And that's what I love about your book, is you're not saying that at all.
No.
Is you're really saying, let's embrace it. Let's really feel it deeply. And you have some really great exercises to let people to get it out and to feel it. But then also, as you said, to reframe it. And the exercise continues to give you the other side of the coin, because they're both there in the moment. And we have to be able to experience and express both of them. So that's one of the things I'd have to say I really loved about the book, is your approach in that. And of course, you're fun and witty, and you know, you bring all your funness to the book as well.
It's because I'm very shy.
Very shy.
Yes. Sarcasm is another service I offer. So, and I'm really glad. And I do promise that if you do the exercises and not just skim over them, because the whole point of going down and into that black hole that we all have, that we're afraid that if we go in there, we're going to be like Humpty Dumpty, break into a million pieces and not be put back together. It's not true. There is a bottom. You just have to really go deep enough to feel it fully one time. That's it. And then you shovel out the shiitake, and you find the seed that is the beautiful, magnificent, unique you. And we all are. That's our birthright. And then you shovel the shiitake back as fertilizer to understand that it's all for a reason, to help us grow. And like, I develop things as a result of this pain that makes me unique in who I am. And certainly one of the things that I got to do with the pain is to transmute it through the book, and to allow myself to be creative in the expression of the exercises. And I promise, if you do the exercises all the way through, you will never hate yourself the same way again.
Never hate yourself the same way again. I love that.
That's right.
That's awesome. And you know, one of the other things I love that you embrace in the book is, you know, when you talk about 88% happy 88% of the time. And it's kind of like you applied the 80-20 rule, you know, with a little twist, with your twist, you know, as you explain why in the book and everything. And we'll let people read the book to find out why. But I love that, you know, that you're, you know, that, you know, there, and I want to talk about that idea of perfectionism, right? That we think we have to be happy 100% of the time. Yeah. You know, in chapter 7, you talk about perfectionism. And so, you know, let's talk a little bit about that, our expectations.
Well, because there are 30% of the population who've not had trauma. And so this book, though, is still for you, because chapter 7 and 8, out of perfectionism into joy and out of control into happiness, are specifically for people who, you know, are overachievers, who have spent their life, you know, saying, recovering overachiever, also known as control freaks and perfectionists, who, like me, you know, it's never enough. Like, nothing's ever enough. First you say, you know, when I make this much money, I'll be happy. Or when I get this project done, I'll be happy. Or when I have this relationship, I'll be happy. Or when I have this number of kids, I'll be happy.
Right. We lost you for a second. So until we get Dr. Marissa back, you know, she's talking about how we don't stop to take a look at what we have accomplished.
Appreciating what you do have and who you are and what you know, what is going on around you. Because that's, if you step at the 88% line and look at 100, and all you're looking at is what's wrong, what still needs to be done, what do I need to transfer onto tomorrow's to-do list, and it's not a good feeling. It's like, oh crap, you know, more, I didn't get it done. And that feeling can last you an entire lifetime. And in fact, if you have that feeling, you're always in the worried prattle of your head. There's a great Tibetan saying, I love this saying. It says, it's as if you're sitting in front of the Grand Canyon with a paper bag over your head. So we don't want to do that. We want to appreciate where we are, what's going on, what we have done. So I ask people to turn 88% mark and look towards what has been done, what is good, What is good about that person with you? What is good about you? What is good about the job that got done? What is good about life? So that finding the good is a huge balance tool in order to get us to 88% happiness.
Absolutely. I'd like to chime in there because something that I started to do about 2 years ago as a recovering perfectionist, right, control freak, was every day, right? Because we've got to practice that on a regular basis. So I started at the end of every day, instead of, looking at what I didn't do on my to-do list, I started to do a list of wins for the day, of things that I did do, that did take care of my health, that took care of my family, the things that I did focus on, in relation to moving my strategies forward. And however, whatever steps that I took, is I did take those steps, right? And even if you're sick, you can look at what you did do, which was to take care of yourself, right? And so I started that practice every day of looking at what I did accomplish. And so instead of ending the day, it was a perfect transition. So instead of ending the day feeling deflated and defeated and like, another day, I didn't get done what I wanted to get done and what I'm supposed to get done, I could appreciate what it is that I did do and be in gratitude and have a beautiful transition then into, family life and have dinner with my family and be in a different state of mind, right? It's so important. The whole energy. So it's perfect. Love that.
Absolutely. It's, Dr. Wayne Dyer would say 5 things, start your day with 5 grateful things. I'm a recovering overachiever. So I actually follow your lead and I start the day with 8 gratitudes every morning. As soon as I wake up, I don't think about what I need to do. I'm grateful for 8 things, and you can actually follow me online. I do it out loud now because we're in the middle of the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa. So you'll see my 8 gratitudes every morning. And then before I go to bed, I do 8 gratitudes at night before I, fall asleep. So I'm sandwiching my day in a gratitude sandwich. So that's how it works, and it works really well for me. So you're preaching to the choir.
Absolutely. No, I know. And I'm not saying it's, I'm just like reinforcing what you're saying. And for those who are listening, who may say, sometimes it's like the naysayers, right? And they'll say, oh, yeah, that's fine for you, Dr. Marissa. I mean, you've got everything going. You just wrote, what's to be today, a best-selling book and, all of these things. So I just want to say, I've done it too. And I actually, started to do gratitude when I was going through the divorce process, and it got me through the divorce process. So I think that people just need to know that it works, right? And it doesn't matter who's saying it, and you can hear it 1,000 times, and it works 1,000 times.
Yes, it does. And I apologize. I'm on my way to the studio, and my beautiful daughter is back from her internship at Duke and Cornell, and she's my chauffeur. She got her license. And so if you see any funny looks on my face, you'll know why. But I wanted to be able to do this with you. And
we're so glad
sharing me with your tribe and your fabulous, like-minded, love-hearted people. And I look forward to having you on my show at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios at Pacific Standard Time. And we get to talk and celebrate your book and the fact that,
Sorry, everyone, our connection is a little bit choppy.
Today, for anybody who is buying the book, so you'll make sure that you go to Dr. Marissa on Facebook and give me the finger. And that way, stream it and let me know if you've gone to get the book.
So you have to let us, we didn't hear 100% of what you said there. So for everybody who goes on and buys your book today, right? Because today's the launch date. It's your birthday present. Go in and buy it. And it's a book that you want to have because these exercises are super valuable to people. So there's all these balance tools in there that are extremely valuable. And they're things that a lot of coaches, people pay coaches to do these exercises. So, what a huge value that you're getting to get that in this book. So what do they need to do?
So they need to go to 8waystohappiness.com, which is a direct link into Amazon, unless they are able to go to a book signing that I'm having 6 signings in 4 days. In the next 4 days, if you're from Denver, would love to see you on Thursday at 7 at the Tattered Covers in Aspen Grove, Littleton, Colorado. And then tonight is the big launch party at 7 p.m. Fern's Garden in Belmont Shore. So if you're local here, come to the launch party tonight at 7. When I come back from Denver on Friday, it's at the Barnes & Noble at Aliso Viejo, Southern California, South Orange County. And then Saturday, back up to Long Beach at the Barnes & Noble Marina Pacifica, and then up to Burbank at 6 o'clock at the Media City Center in Burbank, California. And then Sunday at 4 p.m. I'll be out at the Barnes & Noble in Redlands. And I'm so grateful. Big bookstores invited. I'm so grateful. So I'm really hoping that you'll all come, and we'll do a little exercise around balance and happiness and breathing. You'll learn a little Chinese. So it's going to be a great time. But first, tune in a couple of hours when Penny's on my show. And that's at Universal Broadcasting Network out of the Sunset Gower Studios, where Murder, She Wrote and Newsroom and Scandal is taped. So Penny's going to be zooming in, but we'll be doing Asian Oprah giveaways, and loving to have you celebrate with me.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about, celebration. Do you have 2 more minutes, or do you have to run?
No, I have 2 more minutes. So.
Awesome. Because I wanted to talk, we'll get into some different topics this afternoon. Yes. So definitely for those people who are listening, we're gonna take this to the next step. We're gonna take it further into some other discussion. What I wanted to talk about was, chapter 7, where you talk about perfectionism, right? And we talked a little bit about that already, but I wanted to take a look at, anything that you could suggest, like letting go is a huge and difficult thing, right?
Yes.
And so, and I talk to people all the time, and it's so hard for them to let go of what's not the highest priority.
Right.
Because they feel like, they should just be getting everything done. And their challenge isn't that there's so many things to do, because we all have, in all areas of our life, more to do than we can actually accomplish. I was wondering if you had, a tip that you like to use or to give to help people to put things into perspective and to let go.
Yeah. Great question. Sometimes we get stuck when we can't let go because of the principle of it. So I don't know if you've ever used that term, like there's, I can let go of things where I know that I have, done something, I've stepped into it, or, I had a part in it, so I can let it go and apologize. But if someone has offended me, or if someone has done something to me that violates the principle of it, and I can't let that go, and so I spend a lot of energy, I'll stay up all night writing a note, if they can just hear me or understand me, then if they then they'll understand where I'm coming from, and then they'll apologize, which will never happen, and they'll see where I'm coming from and how important that is. And we really do that one to ourselves. We really are trying to get people who, as Don Miguel Ruiz will say, you are the star person in your life, and everybody else is not your supporting character. They have their own lives. They have their own books. And so it's so important for you to be okay with where you are, and that, that hurt. I didn't like it, but I choose to believe, and you can write this down because I say this all the time. It's actually part of my Tai Chi polishing table mantra, which is everybody does the very best that they can do. If they could do better, they would, but they can't. And I'm not going to let they're where they are, and they're still, magnificent beings. They're just having a 12% day or 12% year or decade, whatever it is. But that's, what you think of me is none of my business. And what I think of you is none of my business. And that's from one of my past guests, Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, has a best-selling book with that title. And it's brilliant because if we can disengage from the principle of things, then we feel better. I mean, it's not about whether it's right or wrong. It's whether about, does it feel good or not? And for me, that's why I believe in a friendly universe. Not because I have data that it necessarily is, because people will say, well, there's starvation and murder and AIDS, and how can you say it's a friendly universe? Well, I can say it's a friendly universe because I choose to find the things that prove that it is a friendly universe that aren't on the news, because the news doesn't broadcast it. That's why my show is all about balancing the bad news, because all-time lower rates of violence and murder and all-time high nonprofits that are working towards improving the planet for all the areas where we've suffered on our own. That's why we have pain, so that it's become something that we can help other people with, and that makes me feel better. So it's not about proof or right or wrong. It's about what thought, action, belief system, what BS will make me feel better the most. And so as soon as you catch yourself not wanting to let go, ask yourself, is this making me feel better or worse?
Right.
And do I want to feel better or worse? I only have 10,888 plus or minus 2,000 days left in my life. I do not want to be like that saying, sitting in front of the Grand Canyon with a paper bag over my head. I want to be able to have clear glasses to see life at its best. That's my choice. That's my ability. That's my choice. That's the most powerful tool that I have in life, is focus and choice.
And choice, yeah. I totally agree. And I think, that point that you're making is having that choice to say, I control the meaning of whatever is happening around me, and throughout my day. And if I realize that, and I realize that I can choose from an empowering meaning, and I can choose from a disempowering meaning. I call it a productive meaning or an unproductive meaning, right? That can change everything. The way, if you just shift that lens that you're looking from, that can change everything.
Yes. So that I would say, every moment you take a breath and say, am I having a productive moment with myself right now? Or an unproductive moment with myself? So that's my choice, because I got to take me wherever I go.
That is totally true, right? And you can shift it in the moment like that. So I think that's the key thing, right? Is to remember that we can ask ourselves in any moment, if we are feeling, my always thing is that if you feel any kind of anger, sadness, hurt, fear, guilt, that's a trigger, right? Or shame. It's a trigger for us to say, okay, we have a better opportunity here to control the meaning, because it's creating difficulty and pain for us.
Yes. Yeah, I use INTBOAD, which stands for it's not that big of a deal. So sometimes it is, but rarely is it that big of a deal, because I'll prove it to you. I'm sure you were mad at something last week. Can you remember what it was? Most of the time we can't even remember what it was.
Right.
Because it wasn't that big of a deal. It felt like it. And I'm not at all I'm not going to tell you, don't be angry. You be good darn well angry. When you get frustrated and annoyed, I have I let myself be angry for 16 seconds, and I will jump up and down and growl and bite my pillow, but no more than 16 seconds. I try not to, because law of attraction's at work, and whatever I focus on grows bigger. And so I am an advocate, though, of venting. You have to be able to release and to be able to let it go. If you stuff it down, you're going to be like George's father in Seinfeld. If you remember that episode where he had like $1 million of computer equipment, and he kept saying, serenity now, anytime anything happens. So he shoved it down. By the end of the day, he went, lost it and destroyed all of the equipment, because he did not release what he needed. We're human. we get pissed, we get annoyed, we get frustrated. Just don't marinate in it.
Yeah, we don't need the volcano effect, right? Where all of a sudden it's right, and then you destroy everything in your path, and that's really not productive. Venting every once in a while is much more productive.
Yeah. It's not about losing your temper. It's about how quick can you recover. That's the, you know, that I think is the ticket.
That's the ticket. Yeah. Well, I want I know that you're on your way to the studio, and for everybody that's been listening, you know, if you haven't already jumped on to buy Dr. Marissa's book, please do that. It's not only the launch of her book, but it's her birthday, so we're celebrating the launch, her birthday, and everything together. So please, you know, support Dr. Marissa in getting her book out there, getting her message, and I promise you that you will find a lot of value in it. You will get the opportunity to, you know, what did you say? To never hate yourself the same way again.
That's right. It's a cross between I'm okay, you're still okay, and don't sweat the small stuff and the big stuff. So I'm really grateful. New York publisher Morgan James, they just contacted me and congratulated me on launch day. And then forward by Michael Bernard Beckwith, endorsed by Neil Donald Walsh, Layla Ali, Marianne from Gilligan's Island. I'm really grateful. I have a lot of big people who have been on the show, and we're still friends, and they love the book, and I'm really glad that you got a chance to read it, Penny, and that makes a world of a difference. So thank you so much, and thanks for your support.
Yes, absolutely. Loved it. We got a lot of value out of it, and so that's what we want for all of you. So go on and get that book. That's on 8waystohappiness.com. Is that right?
Yep, 8 ways, the number 8, waystohappiness.com. And at the end of every show, I sign out, it's all about balance, peace in, and peace out. That's world peace through inner peace. So awesome. Have a great hour and a half before I see you again. And thanks again. Peace and love to everybody out there.
Thank you, Dr. Marissa. Thank you, everybody who's listening, either live or after the fact. And we just want to point out that being happy is productive, right? So, yes. And you get more done when you're happy and you appreciate more around you. So that's why, you know, this was an important topic for today's Take Back Time, is to appreciate that, you know, creating happiness for yourself is going to get you better results. It's going to get you where you want to go faster, and it's going to help you let go of all that small stuff that just doesn't matter. So go ahead and grab Dr. Marissa's book, and we'll see you all in the next episode, and also at Dr. Marissa's radio show coming up in 2 hours. Take care, everyone.